Hi, Sri Avinash.
Hello. Hi, Devika.
You've got a beautiful selection of jewellery and crystals in your Sri Avinash Infused Shop. And I was wondering if you wouldn't mind explaining how these infusions that you put inside the jewellery and the crystals augment the healing powers of the crystals.
Yeah, these when it comes to the crystals, I have to admit I'm no expert in actual crystals themselves, the actual healing properties of the crystals themselves. So I'm not going to lie there. My specialty is infusing the healing power into these crystals that actually have already healing properties that is well known for that worldwide. So what I do is I basically infuse different divine qualities into them, and when I infuse these qualities into them, basically what I'm doing is that I'm using that quality and I'm infusing into these crystals as if it's a person. And then I guess I see they're almost like foot soldiers. So they themselves are like healers. So they're like mini healers. So I infuse these divine qualities into them, and then I give instruction for them to actually do the healing for the person that's holding it or wearing it and having it near. And then also within these crystals, I also instruct it, do a final instruction for them to actually spread out the healing energy, throughout the whole universe, and then instructing it to reach every person, every atom in the whole universe, and then it's clearing the negativities and just basically the conditioning and to bring perfect peace and perfect health. So that's what I do with the crystals. I do exactly the same for the jewellery. And the main reason I'm really in favour of jewellery, as well, is basically you can wear it, whereas the crystals, there was a few issues because when I infused like a crystal that they're holding in a hand, one gentleman was holding it, driving one hand everywhere, holding everywhere he went. It was a bit impractical.
I see.
So jewellery is actually, they go together really well.
They do. And so if I was to have a crystal, say in my bedroom, what would that do to the environment in my home or in my room or in my workplace? What would the benefit be of having that close to me be?
Yeah, basically it's having a great healer in your own house.
Wow.
Constantly healing, sending energy throughout your whole house, cleansing the energy field, cleansing everybody who's coming in. It's not just healing the people in the house, but it's also healing the neighbours as well.
Amazing.
You might just kind of charge them some fee for it. Yeah, but actually that's what it does.
Wow. I wear infused jewellery. I love it. I won't take it off. What is the benefit of having an infused crystal that you can wear on you, like on your skin all the time?
Yeah. Basically, there's twofold. When it's on you, basically, when it's close to you, it's better. It's better. Generally speaking, when it's close to you, it's better. But the other thing is when it's close to you, it does something to you psychologically, because there is a feeling. It basically creates a feeling that is some intimate feeling. It's like when you're wearing it or holding it, it feels like the healing's happening. It is our psychological thinking like that, and that does something, because it gives us more belief that the healing's taking place, more faith when you actually hold it, even though it's actually even far away, it's still healing theoretically equally, but see, in our mind we have some sort of blockages when it's really far away. It's hard to believe.
I see.
That the healing is equal. So in that sense, it's better to work with our mind and to have it close so that we don't have that issue, that doubt. So we don't need that doubt. So it's better to have it close.
These infusions, do they have a lifespan? Do they run out of power?
The good thing about these crystals, they don't die. So humans die, but crystals don't.
Wow, yeah.
So therefore, there's like you got to ask yourself, it's like I guess it's a stone. Like how long is the life of a stone?
And how long is the life of the infusion within the stone?
It's basically as long as you can still see the crystal with your eyes, the qualities stays in that. The qualities stay in that. So it actually doesn't fade away. I hear that people sometimes they have to take the crystal out and cleanse it each year and all type of stuff. With these crystals that are infused into them, there's no need to do anything like that, because inside each crystal, I infuse the divine spirit into each one of the crystals and jewelry. There's a few qualities that they are like essential in each of those items. So divine spirit is one of them. So it has it's like a healing spirit. I guess it's like alive, and because it's not it's like a human, that you last 80, 90, 100 years. So these just last basically forever.
Does this mean that, say, I could pass this down to my niece, and then my niece could pass it down through generations, and it would still hold these, like...
Absolutely. You find that over the hundreds and thousands of years, and these actually crystals and jewellery, people will actually pass it down that long, and people will know that is the crystal or jewellery that's infused. And when you actually look at it, you can see it's like a shine, it's like alive. You can actually see it. You see it's different to another crystal or a normal stone. You look at it, you put it next to each other. Most people will be able to see it. To see it. Is it called a luster?
Yeah.
It's got a shine about it, because that vibrancy, because it's got spirit.
I see. You touched on how you don't need to cleanse them. There's lots of myths with crystals, or recommendations with crystals and jewelry, that they can absorb, different energies, and some people don't even recommend other people to touch crystals and things like that. But this wouldn't be the case with infused crystals because of that divine spirit infusion that you were mentioning.
That's
Is that
right.
correct?
That's right, because the divine spirit is actually the highest spirit. Yeah. It's like the highest spirit in there. It's not any spirit. Yeah. It's the highest. It's divine spirit. It's almost like a part of God is in that, alive. It's almost like a living God in that, alive, like that. A lot of times, sometimes people talk about on that stone, there is a God in that stone. I know where I grew up in Vietnam, there's this a big stone. A big stone is actually stacked on top of another smaller stone, and we're like, who lifted that stone on top of that? So we always, the Vietnamese people, where I grew up in Nha Trang, people believed there was a spirit in there. In there. So in the same way, like in these crystals and jewelry, there is a spirit in there, and when you actually can see it. And I remember when I was a child looking at that stone in Vietnam, and when I looked at it, it was just beautiful. Like you keep on looking at it because it's actually true. In that stone, there's something about it. Yeah.
You have a range of different infusions that you can infuse into the jewelry and the crystals, and they sound amazing. And I was wondering if I could go through some of the less obvious meanings of some of these infusions, because I feel like, the infusion of divine love and internal peace, that's pretty straightforward. I think we can all get what that means. But you got a beautiful one called Oneness with God. What is that infusion?
So basically that infusion is the qualities, the quality when Enlightened Master has that feeling, that connection with God, that oneness connection, you're one. So it creates this amazing connection and feeling like that. So I want people to be able to feel that. So and that's why that's why I created that oneness with God infusion, so that people can have that feeling connection with the divine, with God, and that basically once you have that connection, that solves all of your problems in life. You'll be happy every day.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, no worries.
And there's another quality called the love of humanity. And I was wondering why you thought it was beneficial to infuse the love of humanity in some of these pieces.
Yeah, the love of humanity. That's one of the most critical quality if you want everything good in your life that will happen to you. You want to have that feeling, the love of humanity. Like how does that work? You see, when you have that love of humanity, the whole of humanity, what happens is you forget about your own problems, and that's actually the best way to let go of all your problems. What happens is that love of humanity. So immediately, what happens when you focus on that when the energy is there in you, you don't think about your problems and issues anymore. It's not like don't think of them and they're there, but you don't think of them. The fact that when you put all your whole energy up to the love of humanity, that literally cleanses all that away. Because humanity, when you look at the love of humanity, really because God created the whole humanity. So when you have that love of humanity, all your heart, what you're doing, you're actually falling in love with God. And then when you fall in love with God, because God is actually the embodiment of love. So what you're doing is when you fall in love with that, you're awakening love in you. So when you awaken love in you, then all your fear goes away and disappears. So when there's all love and no fear in you, you can imagine the benefit of that in your life.
I can completely imagine.
It enhances every aspect of your life, relationships, even job interviews, even sports, because you'll be calm and peaceful, you have strength, you sleep better, you'll be a better friend, better partner, better father or mother, better everything.
Amazing. There's another quality I would like to ask you to, again, explain a little bit deeper.
No worries.
Let me see. It's Divine Bliss. Now, I've heard the word bliss before, and I guess, we associate it with happiness, but what's Divine Bliss?
Divine Bliss is, it's like joy. If you imagine when you're happy, you're joyful. But Divine Bliss it's like joy, but it's got more of an ecstatic, divine ecstasy. Like it's got this, and your body is kind of electricity going through your body. You kind of, I guess they say the word blissed out.
Yeah.
You're gonna bliss out in love of God, love of humanity, love of the whole of God's creation, and you're just enjoying that, soaking that in, and just enjoying that, not worrying about anything. So that's like it's like joy, but this divine bliss is almost the active. It's like the active, moving joy within you. So when you see, that's very soothing. That's very soothing. Not just very soothing, but it helps you to remember what life's about. It helps you to remember that our journey to come to this planet is to come here amidst the chaos and challenges you know who you are. It's that bliss in you. You came to enjoy this bliss amidst chaos. So that's why I think that quality is very beneficial.
It's just phenomenal that you can infuse such qualities into these crystals and jewelry.
You'll be able to infuse. You'll be able to infuse like these qualities in yourself.
Yeah.
Like once you realize your divinity. Once you realize your divinity, because all of this is in me, in you, in everybody.
Amazing.
Only difference is I have absolute clarity of that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know what that is. It's in my being. It's not separate, but it's the same in everyone.
It's such a beautiful thing that you're doing. And there's another quality that I would love for you to explain, and it's soul rejuvenation.
Yeah. That quality. What I'm doing there with soul rejuvenation is, I'm basically, it's like the word. It's like when you rejuvenate a person, but I'm doing it at a much deeper level. It's at the soul level. So what am I doing there is I'm kind of first, like when I infuse that quality in a person, that soul rejuvenation, what the quality does is that it kind of cleanses, it lifts the person's soul.
Wow.
It kind of cleanses the garbage, the darkness, around it, like deep in your soul. It cleanses it out, the darkness out. It cleanses it out, and then it gives you that rejuvenation. You feel alive. I feel so good, but not in dramatic ways, or in your heart. That feeling, yeah.
Beautiful. I guess that would really help people let go of the past and anything holding them back. And
yeah, absolutely. Because like when someone have problems in life, or they're sick and unwell, they certainly don't have soul rejuvenation.
No. Yeah.
Because when you have that soul rejuvenation, that beauty, you feel so good, then you won't be sick.
Yeah.
You'll be well.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for explaining those few infusions to us. I have found it fascinating, and I'm sure anybody watching would have just found it equally fascinating.
Yeah, no worries. I'm sure that helps to clarify some of those qualities, because it's sometimes it's not as obvious.
Yeah.
The word says, or it may not be. People may not be familiar with those things.
Yeah. So thank you for that. And one thing that came across to me was I just could not imagine, like putting a value on something that possesses such qualities as oneness with God. Like where else can you find something like that? What do you think the value of, a crystal or a piece of jewelry infused with all of these qualities is?
It's the price that people are paying for these infused jewelry or crystal, like those. Like a diamond, $1 million diamond, it's not even worth 1% of those of one item that person is buying. That diamond, it cannot do anything to help the person's life. In terms of sickness and health and actual benefits, in the actual direct benefits in their life, besides financial. But these are like directly helping them, healing them. $1 million diamond doesn't heal a person. It doesn't add to a person's life, like in that sense, the healing sense. So it's amazing. I myself love it. I love my one. And one of my disciples she infused this one. She gave it to me. The world, So I cherish that, and I wear that.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Beautiful.
See? I love her infusion to that.
Yeah.
But this is I infusion to this one.
Amazing qualities, I'm sure, inside there. Listening to all of these infusions and the crystals and jewelry and just how fantastic it all is, it really reminds me of stories that you hear about like sacred stones and things like things like that, like those mythical legends about certain pieces.
Yes.
Do you resonate with that?
Absolutely. Because like so I grew up, in Australia.
Yeah.
And like you get exposed to all those movies like Lord of the Rings and the Hobbits and all that type of movies, and you see you see rings and things that it has this magical power.
Yeah.
Well, this is real. this is real. You basically got that's just a movie. That's not real. That's just a movie. But this is actually real. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Sacred, I think I would call it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you can't put a value on it because like people that like when they order one and they receive one, I can feel people's energy. They can't wait to receive it. They can't wait. And when they receive it, as soon as they look at it, like the feedback that people say, and they look at it, they just love it. And there's people that they just love it so much. It does something to them. It's like there's people that hold, a stone like in bed.
Yeah.
Like they sleep with it and they're holding their hand, and then when they wake up, sometimes a lot of time they say they're still holding their hand sleeping, and sometimes if they forget, if they drop it, the first thing they do is where is it? Just something in their being knows is so soothing and healing, like that, so yeah, I love this. I love this because for me, to be honest with you, it's kind of like multiplying myself. It's like multiplying an aspect of me into my healing qualities in me, the divinity in me, the healing divine energies. It goes into that, and then it heals the people. I just find that it's such a amazing method that actually heals people, like a much easier way, and everything's good about it. Everything's good about it, And people love jewellery, they love these stones. It's so beautiful.